Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to flip the most simple and basic furniture that you can find. In this case, I'm going to be transforming this sideboard from IKEA. As you can see, it is pretty rough. I mean, it could be worse, but I know it has a lot of marks. But don't let that discourage you. So there's nothing that a sanding, proper sanding can fix. I mean, it's pretty manageable. So let's get into it. So I started by sanding the piece. First of all, there's a tip I'm gonna give you. If you before you start doing anything, you need to try to have an idea of what it is that you want to do. Like maybe was look at some Pinterest and find like the style that you would like to do. If you want to do a modern piece, if you just want to revamp the original style, just be clear of what you want to do. I wanted to have the top with the road wood with the showing the grains, and I knew I was going to paint the body. So that's why you can see here that I am sanding the top, and I'm doing several grit sanding, using several grit sanding paper. Once I was happy with the top of part of the furniture, I also decided that I also wanted to do the top drawers. I also wanted to be having like the wood grain showing. I know I was going to stain it, so I went ahead and start sanding the drawers. Something important I try to do every time I'm taking drawers out is I draw the number of the drawer on the back. That way, when I'm assembling and putting them back together, I know which drawer goes where, so it is easier for me. So, for the lowest part of the furniture, I knew I was going to paint it, so the sanding process was different. At the top, I used several grades of sanding paper, but at the bottom, I was just doing just like a light sanding, so I just use 120 grit. Um, and I'm just gonna do a whole light sanding around all the furniture. At this point, I remember that I haven't sanded the edges of the drawers, and those were going to be also stained, so they need to be properly sanded because if not, when you're trying to stain it or when you're trying to do a paint wash, it doesn't absorb, so it needs to be properly sanded as well. The next step was I decided to do a paint wash at the top because I didn't want it to when I put my finish, I didn't want it to look like yellow. So what I did was a paint wash, which is simple. It's just I used the same paint I was going to use for the bottom, and I just put more water into it. And after I did it, it looks all right. But I realized that I would like to do have a higher contrast between the paint I was going to put in the rest of the furniture and the top. So I decided to just do it again and just use this chocolate paint for it. This is the part for me where it is like fun. I knew I planned ahead of what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted, but what I was doing it was not turning out as I wanted to. Even though it looks good, like it looks really good, but I was like, no, I wanted to have more contrast. So I just went ahead and do it. So of course, like I said before, you have to have an idea of what you want to do, but also have fun. Something important to keep in mind when you are doing a paint wash is that I prefer to do it bits by bits. I don't go and do all the furniture, all the piece that I want to put the paint wash in. I just do it bit by bit. I go cleaning it, and then at the end after I have painted all, then I go again and see if there's places that looks uneven, and I try to match that up. It turns out amazing. I loved it. I was so happy after seeing the result of how it was looking, and then I just move on to the next phase. I used some painter's tape to mark where I knew I was going to start painted with the solid paint, for enough to ruin the areas where I knew I was not gonna paint, not just at the top, but also inside the drawers because I knew I didn't want to paint inside. It's no need, just a waste of paint. So I went ahead and I started doing my prime. I just start priming all the surfaces. I start priming all the drawers. If you can see, I was painting in front of the hallway that is in front of my door in the apartment building I was living at the time. And because I didn't have a space, I didn't have a garage, I didn't have room, I just have a small flat apartment and I wanted to do this piece of furniture which was big. So I just decided to do it there. And obviously I have a neighbor that have to cross that same hallway to get to her apartment. So I talked to her, I told her that I wanted to do that. So shout out to Maxine. She says yes, that she has no problem with it. So I just took precautions. I put some carvers. Then the next piece of furniture I did, I also covered the walls with some plastic because when I was cleaning after this, all the dust and the sun, it was a lot. So I wanted to take that out of my way. So yeah, you can use any space that you have available. My first furniture that was small, I did it in the kitchen. I hope I'm going to share with you guys later that video so you can see. So just use a space and start doing it. So I left the primer to dry, and I was coming back to see if it was right to start painting. What happened is when I arrived, I noticed that the wood was bleeding. Like through the primer, you can see this yellow stain mark, and I was like, "Ooh, we need to sort that before painting," because even though the primer is a more um, like a softer has a like a softer coverage, if I just go and paint and go ahead and paint through the paint, it will also bleed. So what I did was, I just and this is a tip, guys. If it happens to you, what I do, I don't know if there's other methods, but that's the method that worked for me. It is that I apply a sealer paint on top of the primer. I did a feel like I used the same one I was going to do to finish my product. So I did that. I let it dry. I did it twice to make sure that that bleed was not going to go through my primer again, because I decided that after that I was going to prime again, and then if the issue was solved, then I would move on to the paint. And as you can see, it did. You can now see any yellow mark in the test that I did. So I did it for the whole furniture and then move on into painting. While the primer was drying, I decided to go ahead and paint the handles. I decided to use the same handles that were originally in the furniture, and I decided to color them gold because I wanted to give them like a new look, a new vibe, and not just wood. And also because I saw painted gold is was gonna match. It was gonna match the wood grain at the top of it. It was going to match the paint underneath. In here, you can see I am using a cardboard, and I placed some double-sided tape to hold the handles in place because it happens sometimes that when you are spraying, the air that is coming through, move the pieces, and then they fell over and it's just become a mess. So what I do is I like to stick them with wood paint. So then it was just time to paint uh, the rest of the furniture. I did two layers. I removed the tape and then just put the handles on the drawers. I put the drawers back, and there you have it. I'm in love like with the results. I love the contrast. It looks so stunning. The gold pieces of the handle looks perfect. I just love it. So if you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notification button.